This is the Marketing Umbrella Podcast, where it's all about getting the information you need from successful leading marketers to build and grow your digital marketing agency. Brought to you by Itamar Shafir, founder and CEO of Umbrella, the technology platform and brand that is powering thousands of marketing agencies around the country. Find him at umbrellaus.com. And now, here's your host, Itamar Shafir.
Welcome to the Marketing Umbrella Podcast, where we talk with successful marketing experts about ways to build and grow your digital marketing agency. Our guest today is a New York Times bestseller author. The Wall Street Journal calls him a top influencer on the web. Forbes says he's the one of top 10 marketers ever. He was recognized as a top 100 entrepreneur under the age of 30 by President Obama and a top 100 entrepreneur under the age of 35 by the United Nations. He's the founder of Crazy Egg, Hellbar, Kiss Matrix, and Neil Patel Digital. It's kind of a hint to what he is. I'm super excited to say hello to Neil Patel. Hi, Neil.
Hi, thanks for having me. And appreciate you doing this.
You have an agency, you have built SaaS companies, you've been an entrepreneur since before you were 18. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about your background, tell the audience a little bit about how you got started.
Yeah, so I got started years and years ago because I had a job board. And it was my first website. It didn't do well. Hired a marketing firm. They took my money. They didn't provide much results. They tried. And eventually I was broke, frustrated, learned it on my own, got decently well at it, and started doing it for other people. And that's really how I got my start. Fast forward today, done a lot of businesses in between, books and things like that. But my current company is, funny enough, an agency, NP Digital. So
but it's more than agency. You kind of became an online persona. I remember when you had Crazy Egg, excuse me. And yeah, I'm not just saying it. I do remember because I was building my startup, I think around the same time. And you're posting information online. And over the years, you provided more and more content, and then you kind of blew up amazingly. And today I understand you have like 4 million visitors per month on your blog and like 1 million listeners on your podcast. And all the people that are listening to us as more marketing agencies are probably asking like, what's the secret, Neil? Like okay, we don't need to get to 4 million, but how do we get to 100,000?
You want to know the key is? It's really simple. Consistency and do it for a long time. That's it. That's really it. There's nothing special about what I do when it comes to growing the traffic. I've just been consistent and I've been doing it longer. There's some people who've been doing it longer than me, but they're not consistent. There's some people who, are very consistent, but they give up after a year or 2 or 3. And it's like, if you just do something consistent enough and long enough, you can do well.
And don't you think your ability to articulate yourself, in writing and the fact that you're doing this every day and you're an expert at it, that's a must, right? Where it comes to interesting content.
I wasn't an expert at it when I first started. You get better over time.
Okay, that's encouraging. That's great.
I'm a terrible writer and I have tons of grammar issues. I'm probably a good writer now, but I still have a lot of grammar issues. And, I didn't go to Harvard. I didn't go to Stanford. I'm able to write for the average person.
Okay, that's nice. Wow, I bet a lot of the listeners right now are. So consistency, that's the key. Okay.
Consistency and time. If you're consistent but not consistent long enough, you won't do well.
How much do you think how much content does a person need to create every week and consistently over time to start reaping the fruits?
You need to create at least 3 pieces of content, I would say, and you need to do it for at least 2 to 3 years if you want to go after the agency space.
So you now have you have an agency for quite some time, but your SMB arm, that's pretty new, right?
SMB arm is 3 years old. Enterprise is 4 years old.
And when we're talking about SMBs, small, medium businesses, how small is small for you, for example?
We have companies paying us a few $1,000s a month.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So
companies that only do a few $1 million a year in revenue, some only doing $1 million. And we, of course, have companies who do not billions in revenue, but actually billions and billions in profit a year, right? Some of our large enterprise accounts are just massive companies where what's funny is like, I was looking at one of the stock prices for one of the companies we work with. They do 12 billion a year, not in revenue, but in profit.
Wow.
But some of them are really large and some of them are small and quite a few are in between.
Okay. And you kind of expanded from today, you're doing everything, right? You're doing paid media, you're doing services, you're doing consulting, you're doing everything. Where it comes to the small SMB that, let's say, can afford $2,000 a month to start with before they're kind of seeing growth and then recycling that budget, what, how would you best suggest for them to start? Or maybe we can do a little bit of a business case and say, let's say I'm a potential client, I have $2,000 a month, I'm a divorce attorney, and my site is okay. Like I have an okay CTA, I have a bunch of services on the site. That's pretty much it. And I'm coming to you and I say, Neil, help me grow. What would be your first step?
Analyze the website, see what you're doing, and figure out what your competition is doing that's working, and then create a strategy and go from there. There's no like cookie cutter solution if you want to provide results. It ends up being quite customized because every business is doing different things. They're in different verticals. Some are more competitive, some are. And you just got to analyze the business and figure out from there what they need to be doing.
But with a $2,000 budget, wouldn't you say that sometimes you would go directly into one of the two, the paid or organic? How would you start?
Sure, but you still have to analyze a business, right? We believe that if it's even someone pays you $1,000 a month or 2,000, it doesn't matter. You have to give them a customized approach because without the customized approach, it just doesn't drive as great results.
Do you do any result-based services? Okay,
We have fixed costs, whether we get you tons of money or we don't. And we've also learned the hard way that when you do result-based services, because we've tried, when you do really, really well for someone and you make them a killing, they do not like paying based on results. They want to switch back to normal.
Yeah.
And it backfires against you. And it's easier to just do fix.
So you're saying anybody can reach out, call, and they'll get a customized specific solution that just for them. That's amazing.
Maybe, and I don't want to lie, so that's why I say maybe, because some businesses just aren't a good fit for our company, and we'll tell them. Some are in industries we won't take on, like someone's a cigarette company and they want us to give them a customized pitch. We just won't do it. If you're an adult company, we won't do it, right? And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with certain industries. It's just we do what we feel is best for our team, our company, and what we believe in. I know others disagree. Like some may not mind taking on cigarette companies. We just don't care to. Someone can be a cigarette company, offer us $100 million a year. Just, I don't care to take it on. I would love $100 million a year. Don't get me wrong, but ethically, I just wouldn't take it on.
Yeah, no, I completely understand. Okay, so let's switch back to the agency side. When a lot of people that are listening to this podcast are either small or starting, and I think one of the biggest issues that they have is creating differentiation in the agency market, because when you talk with small businesses, many times it kind of sounds the same. Oh, I'll get you on the first page of Google. I'll get you more clicks. I'll get you more leads, whatever it is. Or even when you talk services, I'll do your social. I'll do we all sound the same. What do you suggest for the small? Yeah, but you're different because you built a brand.
Yeah, I get that, but I'm similar to a lot of the other larger agencies too. But the big issue with small agencies that I've seen is they don't customize their approach. That's one. Two, they don't verticalize. So if you're a small agency and you only do it for local businesses that are dentists, right? I'm getting very specific. It's like, yes, other people can do it, but we specialize in dentists. Look at all the dentists we work with. Here are all the case studies. We know what we're doing, hence we have all these dental clients, right? And you can use another agency, but they don't know how your back office works. They don't know what an appointment is worth. They're going to go through a lot of the mistakes that we already know.
Okay, so that's so you're saying if you're small, try to verticalize, try to go niche. That will be your main differentiator because you know that niche better than anybody else.
Correct.
Okay, that's a very good point. How soon? Okay, but some would say, I'm gonna play the devil's advocate for that for a second because I heard both opinions many times. But some would say, okay, but when I'm doing my prospecting funnel, I'm limiting myself to dentist. If I expand it, then anybody who has an issue with their website / marketing can become my client. What would you say to that?
Sure, your close rate's going to be crap at the beginning. It's going to be very expensive, and you're better off creating a hit list of companies that you want and start going after them. And if you can't get them through ads, you can always start dialing and cold calling. And I know that may sound crazy, but it still works.
Yeah, no, I 100%, 100%. So, okay. So you're still very firm about niching. And guys, listen to that. Did you start, when you started your agency, did you start as a niche agency, or were you already big enough to go wide?
We didn't start as a niche, but keep in mind it's a little bit biased because I already had a brand name in the space
Right.
personally, not corporate. So I had the luxury of going broad. But I have to say, when we first started off, funny enough, because I have a lot of background in the B2B software world, a lot of our clients at the beginning were B2B software. So even though we didn't verticalize, we tended to get a lot of those companies in.
So if we're already talking about B2B software, let's talk a little bit about Ubersuggest, right? I love the fact that you launched it. There are several companies on the market that were doing it at the same time, but it was very fitting for you, I think, to do it. Why did you decide, okay, I'm going to do it now? What's the hole in the market that you saw?
All the tools were really complicated to use. And you'll see within Q1 of next year, we'll uncomplicate it. So what I mean by that is all these SEO softwares give you reports. Who has time to go through 100 different reports? Can't you just put a little JavaScript on your website and the software just fixes it all for you? Now, it's not going to be perfect and it's not going to fix everything, but if it can even do 60, 70, 80% of the stuff for you, it saves a small business tons of time and money. And that's my goal.
No way, really?
Yeah. It
Like,
doesn't now, but that's what we're moving towards by the end of Q1.
This podcast is brought to you by Umbrella. Have an agency? Check out umbrellaus.com to grow it today.
wow, no, that's very close by the end of Q1. That's insane. That's a huge announcement. So is that going to be agnostic to all platforms, or are you still starting with WordPress and taking it from there?
We're already beta testing WordPress right now, and at Q1 we'll work on more platforms. Is our
Wow.
goal, at least.
No, that's an amazing goal. I think I bet all small businesses want every software to work like that, like you just said.
Yeah, not perfect, but again, that's what we're trying to aim for, and eventually we'll try to perfect it as much as possible.
Yeah. Okay, like you said,
They don't
even
have
if
the
you
reach. There's a lot of small businesses who can't even afford $100 a month, right? How do you help them? And I want to help everyone, whether they have money or they don't.
I agree. I think, but I think also for those who can afford it, it just saves time and allows you to focus on other things or allocate your budget into more content. Having your tools do the work, most of the work for you, is something that I think everybody wants and needs.
Yeah.
So I read that before you got into online, you sold vacuums and clean toilets.
I
Is that
did. My
true?
first job was at a theme park, cleaning toilets and stuff like that. My second job was selling vacuums door to door. My third job was working at Party City. My fourth job was working at Hollywood Video. They no longer exist. It was like a Blockbuster, which funny enough, no longer exists as well.
So how did you make the jump for something that is very offline-ish, very servicey, into completely digital?
Well, I was using those jobs to make me enough money to help support my online entrepreneurial journey. Because I didn't know how to raise money. So you take jobs and you make money and you use it to reinvest every dollar into online stuff.
And where does that come from? Is that a passion you got from home, from your parents? Was it how did you get to a point where at a very young age you were already thinking about online and working jobs to fund basically your startup? Where does that come from?
I wanted to make more money, which isn't the right reason to create a business, but that was the reason I started out. and
Excellent.
computers. So I know that's not what people normally say, but it's the truth.
No, I love that answer. I appreciate it. I think a lot of people look, there's nothing wrong about it. Sometimes you don't have a lot of money, so you want more. I think it's okay. Okay, cool. So we were talking about, and I know we're short on time, so I won't keep you much longer. But I want to talk to you a little bit about the future, because you deal with the future. You just said Q1 next year, we're going to see something amazing from Ubersuggest. How do you see this? How do you see digital marketing services specifically 5-10 years from now? Do you think there's going to be a big shift into automation and AIs?
I do. I think what you're going to see in services, I think you're going to see in less than 5 years actually, is companies using software to be more efficient. So that way you don't need as many humans. And that way you can provide companies better results more efficiently and more affordably. And I think that really is what's going to happen. I don't think the market's there yet, but there's a lot of companies trying to do it. We're trying to do it in services. Pilot Accounting is trying to do it in accounting, right? It's because you look at all these companies like the WPPs, the Dentsus, the Omnicoms, they're really inefficient. They need too much headcount to get stuff done. Their costs are too high, so they can't service people for a reasonable amount. Sorry about that.
No worries.
But yes, when you look at the Omnicom, the Publicis, I think there's a better way to do it. And why can't you use technology to be more efficient, ideally be cheaper, and provide clients better results because you're using data and automation, getting things done faster from as well.
You think it will go all the way into the creative and planning, or it will stop in the small task within 5 years?
No, I think eventually you'll get into the creative and the video and the images and all that stuff, but I don't think it's fully there yet. That stuff is going to be harder to do.
Okay. And do you already have a plan for it? Or you're not planning that far?
Not planning that far yet. We're mainly first starting to work on automating SEO. And then once we do that, start getting to automating paid ads, email marketing, and a few other services.
Okay. That's so, and we'll see some of that in next year, right? Q1 and after that. So you're saying Ubersuggest, or maybe via another platform, you're going to go into paid advertising as well?
Correct. So we'll start going to paid advertising and email marketing. Like I want to release a better version of MailChimp, but free, unlimited contacts, unlimited sends.
Wow. When is that coming?
We haven't really fully built it yet. That's a while from now, but that's my dream.
Are you going to let the public invest in you? Maybe tokenize it? I heard
No.
I heard your podcast, your last podcast about NFTs.
Yeah, for me, it's not about tokenizing or selling it. It's a passion. I'm doing what I want to do. It's not about making money. It's about helping businesses of all sizes grow and do better.
Okay, but it's a big lift. It does require probably a lot of funding, right? But you're saying
it does, but I have other businesses that do well, and then I can use the money and then reinvest it. I don't need a fancy car. I have a nice Honda Odyssey, So it's like, instead of buying a bigger house or a faster car, I can use it to help more businesses.
It's like a Dickens novel. You're like a character starting out as a kid wanting to make more money, ending up as a grown person, taking all your money, doing things for others, driving a Honda. There is some sort of cycle here of growth. I don't know if it's growth, but it's definitely change, right? What happened? Is it basically that you got comfortable, or was it always on your mind and you were just waiting to have enough to do it?
Correct. I've always had it on my mind. I just didn't have enough resources, time, and money to do it. And now I do. So now I want to do it. It's just a passion, right? It's just like sometimes you do things because you're passionate about it. I've always been passionate about marketing. Always wanted to create software and solutions that help companies of all sizes. And I want to create solutions that work for people and companies no matter where they are in the world and what their currency is, and even if they don't have any money.
Wow.
Because the demand is there, right? It's just everything's too expensive. And why does it have to be expensive? Why does it have to be complicated?
Yeah. These are great questions. Very hard to find answers for them. No, we can find answers for them. What you're doing actually provides the answer. And it's like 5 hours of philosophy we can go into. But I wanted to ask you, because I know we have 5 more minutes. You say on your website that your agency is different than others because you focus on communication collaboration, which enables you to move quickly and pivot at the moment notice. Okay. And I wanted to ask for an example for that, because maybe the listeners, maybe they can't do exactly the same thing, but maybe they can integrate into what they're doing a little bit of that approach.
Yeah, I'll give you a great example of this. A lot of people do paid advertising management. It's one of the biggest things in agencies, right? Help people manage their ads, and you take a small percentage of the spend and in fees, right? As an agency, a lot of times we don't actually see competitors talking enough with their customers. Let's say if someone's selling a high ticket item and it takes a lot for conversion, and you're getting a lot of clicks for people looking at, let's say, $1 million piece of jewelry. Well, if they're looking at $1 million piece of jewelry and you're getting a lot of looky-loos, and you're running promotions, and you talk to the owner, and the owner is like, yeah, we've done this before. It doesn't work as well. Right away, you can go in and you can adjust and turn it off. Or let's say if they're not using automation in some of the bid management tools, and they're doing a lot of things manually, and they're like, hey, we did automations before and it didn't work. You can take that, and instead of just saying, hey, we're not going to use it, we're going to turn it off, you can go dive into the old campaigns, try to figure out why it didn't work, and then go and run a few different experiments and try to get the results even better, right? So it's just the communication that allows you to adjust in real time. There was a promotion, let's say during Black Friday, and there was a company literally, a week before that said, hey, we think we're going to have supply chain issues. And we're like, no worries. You know what we're going to do? Instead of running a Black Friday promotion, we're going to drag it on for like a week or 2 weeks. And we're going to start the promotion a little bit before to help out with the supply chain. And we're going to keep the promotion going a little bit after as well. And the results were amazing. But it's just figuring out creative solutions when things aren't necessarily the way that anyone planned.
And for that, you need very, very good communication with the client. That's
Very
otherwise you wouldn't have known about the supply issue. Yeah.
Because you can have the best marketers in the world on your campaign, but if they don't communicate and you're not working together, it's just not going to work as well.
I think that's an excellent point. I think it also gives you, that communication also gives you the ability to create better strategies, and also on a more egotistical level, maybe also brings you and the client closer together, which is also important. So I think that's a great point. Our last segment that we do on every podcast is a rapid Q&A. The questions are in no way edgy, but if you feel uncomfortable about any of them, just say pass. Okay?
No, ask away.
They're not. They're very, very soft. Did you get along with your parents growing up?
Yes.
Do you have siblings?
Yes.
Do you have a pet? One sister.
No pets.
No pets. Do you have kids?
2 kids.
How old were you when your first kid was born?
I was 34.
When do you wake up?
Anywhere between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m. at the latest.
When do you go to bed?
Anywhere between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. at the latest.
Ideal vacation?
Staying at home and watching TV and relaxing with the family.
Nice.
I've traveled too much in my life.
Are you a man of faith?
In between, not too much, I'm nothing against or anything like that. I'm in between, I would say.
Okay, so you believe, but you're not practicing, kind of that thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Excellent, Neil. Thank you very, very much for all the information that you provided to the listeners today. Thank you for your advice. I really appreciate it. Guys, all the listeners, go check out Ubersuggest. Check out Neil's website. It's neilpatel.com, right?
Yeah.
And Neil Patel podcast. excellent information. I'm sure everybody listening to us now already know of you, but those who haven't, guys, you got to. This man has a lot of experience and a lot of excellent resources and advice, and definitely go ahead and read and listen to everything that he has to say. Thank you, Neil.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you for tuning into another episode of the Marketing Umbrella Podcast, where we provide the information you need from successful leading marketers to build and grow your digital marketing agency. Your host has been Itamar Shafir, founder and CEO of Umbrella, the technology platform and brand that is powering thousands of marketing agencies around the country. Find him at umbrellaus.com.